Hello dear viewers, it is once again time for the news on the television. With me, Sarishan Hori. Let us begin with the headlines. President Paul Kagame has noted that taking responsibility, having constructive leading character is not just for elders and that it should start at a young age. The Rwanda Meteorology Agency has announced that the rainy season will begin at the start of September in the country and that far more rain than usual should be expected. And on the international scene, South African President and Chairperson of the 2023 BRICS Summit, His Excellency Cyril Ramaphosa, has announced that the five-member bloc has reached a consensus on the first phase of expanding the body. Now the details. Thank you for taking the time to join us. President Paul Kagame has noted that taking responsibility, having a constructive leading character is not just for elders and that it should start at a young age. The Rwandan head of state made the remarks on Thursday as newly appointed officials were sworn in. We have the details on that. Those who took their oaths at Village Urugwiro in the presence of the President of the Republic were Major General Albert Murasira, who is the new minister in charge of emergency management, Janine Munyeshuri, the Minister of State for Public Investment and Resource Mobilization in the Ministry of Finance and Economic Planning, and Sandrine Umutoni, the Minister of State for Youth. We cannot stop reminding you that work at this level is meant to make people to take responsibility for both themselves and those they lead, but above all is the fact that we are serving our country. His Excellency the President also pointed out that this is not something that only the elderly should be expected to do. The reason I am saying this is because these two women are young, and it was done purposefully in order to give the youth responsibility so that they can understand that they cannot just follow and should instead lead as well, being part of different initiatives meant to build up our country. So let me emphasize that to take up such responsibilities and possess the sort of norms that build up and lead should not be restricted to just the old, and should instead start with the young. The three officials were appointed to their positions on Tuesday as part of broader changes that saw a number of cabinet members shuffled, while other appointments were also made beyond the cabinet itself. Now, on Thursday, the Minister of State, Professor Shuti Manasseh, represented His Excellency Paul Kagame at the BRICS Summit that took place in Johannesburg, South Africa, under the theme BRICS and Africa, Partnership for Mutually Accelerated Growth, Sustainable Development and Inclusive Multilateralism. In his remarks, he highlighted the importance of joint efforts towards solutions that effectively tackle the multifaceted challenges faced, including the matter of financing, climate change, women's empowerment, and the digital divide. The minister also extended an invitation to participants for the third meeting of least developed countries, landlocked developing countries, and small island developing states taking place in Kigali in June next year. Now, as we noted in the headlines, the Rwanda Meteorology Agency has announced that the rainy season will begin at the start of September, and far more rain than usual should be expected. Local residents have been continuously being urged to implement measures to fight soil erosion and leave high-risk zones. The last rainy season claimed the lives of 148 people, 135 of them in a single night in May. 3,474 homes were damaged and destroyed, and more than 20,000 people were displaced. 400 have since seen their homes repaired, while around 3,000 are to be rebuilt from scratch. Now, experts and consultants in the housing industry say that using locally made materials as well as other various factors can reduce the cost spent on building houses and that it is beneficial to residents in terms of getting decent and affordable homes. This was reiterated during the launching of the report on housing market carried out in collaboration with the Ministry of Infrastructure and the Development Bank of Rwanda. Olive Nete with more.
The launch of the report on housing market and low-cost efficient housing materials and technologies highlighted some of the steps that can be taken into account to reduce the pricing of houses, the current available market, some of the financial mechanisms that can be put in place for both demand and supply in the sector, and more. Some of the residents say that looking at the current speed in development, affordable housing is seen as a lasting solution when it comes to buy or rent houses. Affording a house is currently hard. People with means build big houses and others buy plots, and we are concerned with the people who are relocated every time when such activities are being carried out. And I think this can be solved if only we can find affordable houses.
For people with the means to construct houses, they can do that, and we can rent them because we can afford that. And also those able to buy them can do that as well.
Faustin Karasira, the Chief Operating Officer in the Private Sector Federation, emphasizes on the role of the study and highlights some of the steps that can be taken to ensure the implementation of this project, which is beneficial to the population.
It even informs the need of the policy change in order to tap into the opportunities that are related to the affordable housing. The second, there is a need to redesign the whole business model that would really make this affordable housing work. Then the third, it is to work on the whole value chain of the construction. Because if the value chain is not well developed, then it becomes very hard to have an affordable product. And then last but not least, it is now to move at the level of a prototype. Do you really have prototype that reflects that affordability? And if yes, then why not now to multiply those prototypes into wider affordable houses?
According to Engineer Patricie Ouasse, the Minister of State in the Ministry of Infrastructure, the government is committed to finding solutions to ensure the 2050 country's vision for universal access to affordable and decent housing.
Indeed, given the need on the market that's still growing as our cities grow, given the vision that we have as a country to continue to urbanize up to 70% by 2050, that we need to really look at it at a more holistic level. As a way to continue to provide low-cost housing, yes, but also look at how we formalize the other sector of rental economy, which has shown to be a big sector actually, given that this sector rental income per month is about 9 billion Rwanda francs. And working together with all the actors, the developers, whom we now have a better understanding of, given what the study has shown us, is going to help us to continue to deliver even more housing to the market, both in Kigali, in the secondary and satellite cities, but also across the whole country.
The Affordable Housing Program in Rwanda was initiated in 2015. The Ministry of Infrastructure also notes that, aside from providing affordable houses to buyers, there's also another method that can be used, which is providing affordable houses for rent to facilitate those who are not into buying. On this note, the study also revealed that rental income per month in Rwanda is close to 9 billion Rwandan francs. Olive Nete, RTV News.
Still speaking on matters related to affordable and decent housing, experts in the field say there are various ways that can assist people to get affordable houses without initially buying, but instead opting to rent. Fatundiye, a consultant in housing and urban development, sheds more light on the retail economy and how it can benefit the population. She also reiterates on financial mechanisms that can be adopted to facilitate people to get houses.
So one of the things that we were able to do with the housing market study is access a large volume of data, which Rwanda has an abundance of, which is fantastic. And what it showed is that more than 53% of Rwandan households now are renter households. They may own a parcel somewhere, but they actively rent a dwelling. In the city of Kigali, that number goes up to 67%, and we know this from the most recent census. And so knowing that more than half of the population is in the rental market, be it informally or from a private or housing provided by a private individual, it really is up to us to kind of understand that business model or business models for rental and see how we can scale that up. The data also tells us that there are about 200,000 households that are landlord households. So they every month get money from rent, and that money is either used for school fees, for savings, or what have you. So it's an important volume of money. Now, if we start to estimate that most people pay an average of $20,000, $25,000 per month, we get to billions of Rwandan franc every month that are being used and spent for rental housing, and that's just an incredible opportunity for the economy if some of it can be formalized. One of the ways that we need to put in place financial mechanisms to support people to get houses. Right now, there's a system of mortgages, which are very important for the economy, but right now they only service a small percentage of the population. And so we have to be able to start lending down market and creating financial products and opportunities for those who are at the bottom of the income pyramid. And that means that we need to de-risk somehow the lending process, which means making the lender more comfortable. Also, which means you might have to improve certification in the industry. You might also need to ask the state to put in place policies where if someone defaults, the lender is able to get their money back more easily. So I think all those securities, if they're put in, the lender will feel that the risk is lesser, and then they can possibly look at alternative incomes. People who are currently considered not bankable may become interesting to banks, to financial institutions. The other thing is to start looking at informal incomes, maybe through data that's gotten from mobile money transactions. Many people have, they make money, but they're just not formally employed. And up till now, they've been excluded from the financial sector in terms of being able to get a loan to get housing. But if their incomes, whether it be from rent, whether it be from an informal employment, are able to be traceable and visible, it means that there could possibly be additional opportunities for those individuals.
Now, officials in the Ministry of Trade and Industry have noted that the proper use of technology in the agricultural sector has the potential to significantly increase the number of professional farmers in the country. 70% of Rwandans work in the agricultural sector, and that contributes 26% of the national budget, and technology is already helping to significantly change how things are done.
Since we started the farmers market, we started 3 years ago, but right now we've reached out to more than 7,000 local farmers that we are supporting. We have increased our team to over 30 employees, and also we have increased the base of our customers. We also opened 2 new branches, where we have now a new branch in Chibagabaga with cold room that I have the capacity to keep up to 40 tons of fresh produce from the farmers. So this is a great achievement for us as the company. When we started, when Afri-Farmers started, we didn't have the skills and the opportunity, even the finances. But different opportunities have been provided by the government, through Hunger Pitch Fest, was created, gave us the investment and also created opportunities for us. Youth Connect, that was really a benchmark for us also to get investment and also get different partners to support us in this progress that we are making right now. The way we are leveraging technology to support the farmers is that they can use their smartphones, like using a USSD code or sending a message, so that we can go and pick the produce from the farm. And the customer can be a home, a restaurant, a household or restaurant or a hotel. They also can use our e-commerce platform to order that fresh produce. So for us, we are being a bridge that is connecting farmers with the consumers, leveraging on technology.
South African President and Chairperson of the 2023 BRICS Summit, His Excellency Cyril Ramaphosa, has announced that the 5-member bloc has reached a consensus on the first phase of expanding the body, adding that 6 states, that being Argentina, Ethiopia, Iran, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and the UAE, have received invites for membership that will commence on the 1st of January next year. VOA has the details.
We have consensus on the first phase of this expansion process, and other phases will follow. We have decided to invite the Argentine Republic, the Arab Republic of Egypt, the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, the Islamic Republic of Iran, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates to become full members of BRICS. The membership will take effect from the 1st of January 2020.
Now, before we end this edition of the news, let us once again take a look at the headlines. President Paul Kagame has noted that taking responsibility, having a constructive leading character is not just for elders, and that it should start at a young age. The Rwanda Meteorology Agency has announced that the rainy season will begin at the start of September in the country and that far more rain than is usual should be expected. And on the international scene, South African President and Chairperson of the 2023 BRICS Summit, His Excellency Cyril Ramaphosa, has announced that the 5-member bloc has reached a consensus on the first phase of expanding the body. Thank you for taking the time to join us. I'm glad you were able to, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.